Hello. I'm trying to show you the book that we're going off of. It is the transformational process according to Proverbs for the next 31 days. Hello, as people are pinging on. This is going to be quick and concise. I should have put that in my title. We're going to have a quick lesson tonight talking about coming from the chapter 22. You may know that the book of Proverbs have 31 chapters, and we're on the 23rd day because we do one chapter per day. Hey, let me know where you're pinging in from. I don't know if you're new, but let me know. Hey, Mika. Thanks for joining. Gonna be talking about the Proverbs 31 woman. What does that look like today? So you guys see, I just got my hair braided. So I like the way they did it, but it is still a little tight. So I'm going to get this scope in and done to share with you and go pack my bags because I have a road trip tomorrow. So anyway, as people, let me just tell you who I am. My name is Jo Bullock, and I am one of the founders of DetourMovement, Inc. Okay, and DetourMovement is where we believe that you renew your mind so you can transform your life. We are the founders of the Kingdom Builders program, which we just help women in business and ministry to just live full out and just to be the best version of themselves and to have a sustainable business. Thanks for the hearts. Hey, pretty lady. Love the hair. Thank you, Mika. Thank you. And also, I'm an author of Be the Best Version of You, Dispelling the Lies, Uncovering the Truth of the Fabulous You. And also, I am the creator of the program, 6 Steps to Attracting Healthy, Happy Love, which I like to call Steps to the Altar, helping women make the right choice about their dating relationships. So DetourMovement, Inc., and the whole thing that we do is all about transformation. We constantly want you to be reinventing yourself to the best version of yourself. So let me get to it. I encourage you to go ahead and share with your followers, share with your friends, because we're going to be talking about tonight. I actually, the lesson came from, I believe it was Don't Spare the Rod. So we're going to touch on that. Hey, Rima girl. Thank you for inviting your followers. Let me know where you're pinging in from. So, hey, thanks, Mika, for inviting your followers. So, hey, we're going to be touching on spare the rod, not sparing the rod. But I actually pulled off 3 verses that I want to just hit real quick on this Periscope because it really just resonated with me, and I'm just going to share with you. Some people you may have read it. Whether you read it or not, it's not going to matter. You're still going to get some juicy stuff from this tonight. So one of the first verses that I really resonate with me tonight I want to share was from chapter 23 of Proverbs in verse 8, and I'm just going to read it. It says, "Do not wear yourself out to go get rich. Do not trust your cleverness." And my first tip is, I'm going to tell you, don't be a paper chaser. You know, right now, there's just so many multi-level marketing things, and nothing wrong with multi-level marketing. There's nothing wrong with starting a business. There's nothing wrong with starting a ministry. We help people to do that all the time. But we want to make sure that we keep it focused on the glory of God, that we keep it, coming from a place of service and not necessarily for our own, gratification or just trying to make money. A lot of people are doing a lot of things and the motivation behind it is money. What I would encourage you to really live life full out, to really live the life and the purpose that God has destined for your life, then you need to find out what is your passion, what is your purpose, and not just do something because it's a way to generate income. Granted, I get it. Some of us have jobs because it's a mean to, an end, if you will, because we need to eat. I get that. But when you're talking about you starting your own thing and doing stuff outside of that, and even in our job, we should find something that we're really passionate about and that we like to do, that we love to do, so we can serve people in that arena. So that's one thing I want to tell you. Don't be a paper chaser. Somebody needs to tweet that. Somebody needs to put that on Facebook because it's no time for that. There's no time for us to be paper chasers. We're supposed to be women of service out here, building, being bridges to our communities. And that's what we need to focus our time and energy on. So the next thing is verse 12. Apply your heart to instructions and your ears to words of knowledge. So let me just say that again. It says, apply your heart to instructions and your ears to words of knowledge. So the whole big takeaway there is we have to be willing to listen. You know, a very smart person, I believe it was Steve Covey, who said, we need to first seek to understand before we seek to be understood. Thanks for the hearts. I appreciate all the love. So when we're saying that, sometimes we just, you know, we don't want to be quick to speak. We don't want to quick to give our opinion. Sometimes we just need to listen. Sometimes we just need to listen to somebody. You know, I encourage, if you don't have a spiritual mother, you need to get a spiritual mother. Connect with a spiritual sister. You know, get in circles where people can really just pour into your life, pour into your children, just help you to be the best version of you. People that's smarter than you, people that, have more wisdom, people that may be at a different level spiritually that can help, elevate your game spiritually. We don't always have to be the ones talking and giving a 2 cents. We sometimes just need to be in a place of listening. Sometimes we need to be a student. And no matter what level we are, whether we're a teacher, whether we're a coach, whether we're a nurse, whether we're in contracts, it doesn't matter what we are. We're always a student. And we should be a student first, because we always want to be in that place of submission, of, being willing to. You always want to be teachable. You always want to be coachable. We never want to lose sight of that. Granted, sometimes you will be the coach. Sometimes you will be the teacher. But we don't want to lose sight that we are always, if you will, like the disciples, and always willing to listen to some wisdom. Okay. All right. So verse 13. And this was where the lesson was on, talking about not sparing the child. So do not withhold discipline from a child. If you punish, that's good, being teachable. Absolutely. It's so important. So important. Okay, so verse 13, it says, do not withhold discipline from a child. If you punish them with the rod, they will not die. Punish them with the rod and save them from death. And when they say that, I really believe that can be, when they say save them from death, that can be spiritual or physical. Because let's face it, if as parents, and I'm not a parent, but I talk from a parent perspective, because I feel like I am a surrogate, if you will, to some degree, with all my nieces and nephew and the time I've done in youth ministry. So as parents, if we don't teach our children, how to behave and how to act at home, when they get on the streets are not going to be nice to them. I mean, we see all the brutality and all the incidents with officers because kids, maybe come at them in a certain way, and these officers feeling disrespectful, and they got the ego going, and it just is not turning out. It's our responsibility as parents to make sure that we discipline our children when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And sometimes when they call, if the administration at your child's school call you in for a parent-teaching conference, or say have a concern about your child or their teacher, sometimes we just need to listen, going back to, being willing to listen to what the concern is, because the teacher is there to help your child. But sometimes we go against the teacher and we try to take sides for the child. And that at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily serve us, because at the end of the day, the teacher, the principal, who all these people have the child's best interest at heart. Granted, I get sometimes you have those one-off situations where there may be a disconnect. There may be a case where the teacher or principal may have it out. That's like 1 in a million. That doesn't happen all the time. Most times the teachers are truly vested. They don't get paid a lot. They're committed to helping your children. So the parents need to be on the same front with the teacher and the principal, and not necessarily be so willing to take this child's side, because sometimes in that whole process, the discipline is lost, right? Because it's kind of like a debate. You're trying to protect your child, but you don't have to protect your child from the teacher, right? That is the time to discipline, because it can save them from a physical death in some cases, and even a spiritual death. So it's so important. And even to me, for discipline, it doesn't necessarily have to be a rod. I don't think it necessarily have to be a rod, because some kids, hey, Gabby. So some kids don't necessarily need a whooping. Some kids are more well-mannered. They will, if you give them instructions, or you maybe send them to the corner, or you punish them with taking away electronics and social media, that may be enough for them. Every child don't need necessarily to be whipped. But then there's some kids who parents feel like, okay, I tried everything else, and I just feel like whipping is the next thing. And I seen how emotional whippings can be. for a parent to whip a child. So you have to know your child. Oh, no problem, hon. You can always replay. So, hey, you have to know your child and what their temperament is, and also what works for them, But I believe that most children, if you give them some form of discipline, it will be effective. But you have to take something away from them that they care about. And now that's not hard because so many kids have cell phones. So many kids are on the internet. So many kids have these video games. It's just so much that you can do. And even if you're not home, you could take the video game with you. I'm going to tell you about this one time. One of my mentors was telling me about how she had disciplined her son one time. So this was years and years ago. So her son was just cutting a fool. So she took all of his name brand shoes, all of his nice jeans and shirts, and had him just to wear his white t-shirts, his raggy jeans, and looks like one pair of shoes. And even she took his mattress, and I can't remember if he was sleeping on the box spring. Maybe that's cruel and unusual, but she knew what mattered to her son. She knew what it would take to help discipline him. So if you know your kids value clothes, maybe punishing them with that is the way. If they value games, whatever that is, don't spare them. Don't spare them. Let them know when you're disciplining them that you love them and you're doing it because you love them. They won't necessarily always see it now, but they will see it when they get older. The kids that don't get any discipline and don't get any correction don't know the right way. They don't understand wrong from right. At least they can't even rationalize for real consequences. So they end up getting in trouble, sometimes for the simplest things. And then they can end up, in death, or in jail or in some place that we don't want them to be. So anyway, I'm just going to recap, right? 3 things that we talked about tonight. The first thing was, don't be a paper chaser. We're going to be women of service. We're going to be women that's after the heart of God. If riches come on that journey, praise God. I believe God wants us to be prosperous. I believe he gave us all the ability, but that's not where we're going to focus our time and energy day in and day out on, right? So the next thing is, I said, be willing to listen, always being coachable, being teachable, is we always can learn something. We never stop being students. And lastly, but definitely not least, whip your kids. Hey, Proverbs 31, we're having a short scope tonight. I was saying my hair is tight. I just got to braid it. Some cool little braids. So I'm about to get off. Stay plugged, power source. You got to stay plugged into your power source all the time. That's my girl Mika Brand, one of the kingdom builders on here, and that is so true. So when you stay plugged, you can be that example for your children, so they will follow in your footsteps. So like I was saying, my third point is it won't kill them if you whip them or discipline them. I'm not even gonna say whip, because every child don't need whipping. And I have this theory that my kids aren't going to need whippings, but my husband thinks otherwise, and he already told me about his whole plan to whip our kids. I'm like, we don't even have them yet. What's wrong with you? So anyway, we'll see. I'll keep you updated on that, but the kids are not even here yet, so we got a little ways to go. So anyway, love you ladies for joining. Continue to invite your friends. And we're going to be pushing out the social media because we're still going to be off for 8 days. And Treal's going to be on. So Treal's going to be relieving me tomorrow. We may do it together because we're going to be together tomorrow. So she's going to be on tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. So it'll be good to kind of shake it up and get a little different, different personality, different perspective, and different, and different flavor. So anyway, and if you are part of our community and you would like to want to let us know, we would love to have you as a guest on Detour Movement Periscope as we continue to build bridges and continue to transform lives in a mighty way by renewing people's mind and transforming their life and their business. Love you all. Have a good night. Thanks for joining.